Under the quiet weight of today's news, the world of jazz feels as if it has lost one of its central rhythms. Jack DeJohnette, gone at 83, leaves behind a silence that is louder than any applause he ever received, and yet somehow softer than the touch with which he approached a cymbal or a piano key. ECM confirmed his passing from congestive heart failure, and ever since the tributes have begun. But few are as emotionally charged as the unspoken one that hangs in the air around Keith Jarrett. For more than 4 decades, Jarrett and DeJohnette were not simply collaborators, they were extensions of each other's musical souls. Two artists who didn't just play together, but breathed together. It's almost impossible to think about Keith Jarrett without the shadow, the heartbeat, or the elemental force of Jack DeJohnette nearby. Their work in the Standards Trio with Gary Peacock remains one of the most sensitive, adventurous, and deeply human bodies of trio music ever recorded. Jarrett's piano spoke in paragraphs, and DeJohnette responded in poetry. There was no hierarchy, no accompanist, no leader in that trio. All 3 men were authors, and every night on stage they rewrote what jazz could be. Now, with Peacock gone and DeJohnette gone, Jarrett stands alone with only memory, echo, and legacy. And the world aches with him. Jarrett often described the experience of playing with DeJohnette as something close to telepathy. They could turn a standard into a journey, a whisper into an earthquake, or an empty bar of silence into a moment that made an audience hold its breath. DeJohnette's drumming was unlike anyone else's, never simply pulse, never merely accompaniment. It was water, it was weather, it was conversation, it was rebellion. The loss of such a musician is not simply the loss of a drummer, but the loss of an entire language. Jarrett knows that language better than anyone alive, and it's hard not to imagine him now, sitting in silence, holding the shape of that language in his mind, with no one left to speak it back to him. For Jarrett, whose own devastating health challenges in recent years have already pressed him into a painful quiet, this moment is doubly heavy. In the days when he could sit at the piano and let sound pour out of him, he and DeJohnette created musical moments that felt eternal. Autumn leaves that never faded, My Funny Valentine that always sounded newly in love, and ballads that made time itself lean in to listen. DeJohnette supported Jarrett not by staying underneath him, but by rising to meet him, anticipating the future, and responding before the moment even happened. Their music wasn't improvised in the ordinary sense, it was discovered, revealed, unearthed in real time, and the trust between them made it possible. Jarrett has long been a fiercely emotional and deeply spiritual artist, one who believed in truth, honesty, and vulnerability in every note. It's impossible to imagine him treating this loss lightly. DeJohnette was not just a partner, he was one of the few musicians on earth who could follow Jarrett into every corner of his imagination, whether tender or volcanic. The mourning that surrounds DeJohnette's passing is global, but for Jarrett it is intimate, the loss of a comrade in sound, a brother in art, and a friend whose ears and heart were tuned to his in a way that may never occur again in jazz. Fans, musicians, and historians will now look backward, because that is all that is left for us. We will revisit the trio's recordings, the breathtaking concerts in Tokyo, the nights in Paris, the electricity of their interplay in New York, the quiet sorcery of their ballads, and the fiery risk-taking that somehow always landed on its feet. But Jarrett, wherever he is in this moment, is undoubtedly looking both backward and inward. He knows better than anyone what has truly disappeared, not only a drummer of impossible sensitivity and innovation, but a partnership that shaped modern jazz as profoundly as any in the last half-century. There is a particular ache that comes when the world loses an improviser. Composers leave behind pages, writers leave behind manuscripts, but improvisers leave behind moments. Moments that can never happen again. Yes, recordings exist, and thank God they do. But DeJohnette's greatest gift was in the moment, and Jarrett was the one who met him there over and over for decades. Now, half of that conversation is gone, and the silence it leaves behind is heartbreaking. In mourning Jack DeJohnette, the jazz community is also mourning a chapter of Keith Jarrett's life and of jazz history itself. An era has closed, a voice has fallen silent, a heartbeat has stopped that once drove some of the most astonishing and beautiful musical dialogue ever captured. The world will continue to celebrate DeJohnette, and Jarrett will continue to be revered. But something sacred between them has now permanently moved from the present into the past. Some losses feel like a final cadence, others feel like a suspended chord that never resolves. The passing of Jack DeJohnette, especially in the shadow of Keith Jarrett's own silence, feels like both. Final, yet unfinished. Complete, yet still echoing. The grief is overwhelming, but so is the gratitude. Gratitude for Jarrett, for those who played with them, and for the millions who listened. One truth rings out through the mourning: what they created together cannot die. It will be studied, cherished, replayed, rediscovered, and passed on. Future generations will hear the conversation, even though its speakers are gone. And somewhere, perhaps, Keith Jarrett sits with tears, memory, and music that now lives only in his mind. Two souls once met on a bandstand and changed jazz forever. Now one has left the stage, the other carries the silence, and in that silence, the world bows its head. Jack DeJohnette's story is one of brilliance, innovation, experimentation, and resilience, but also of pressure, physical struggle, emotional burden, and the quiet cost of being a musical pioneer for more than 6 decades. While the world remembers his supernatural touch at the drums and piano, few outside the jazz circle truly grasp the toll that life on the road, constant reinvention, and the expectations of genius placed on him as a man, a collaborator, and a human being. From his early years, DeJohnette's body was tuned for music, but not always ready for the physical punishment of drumming, a discipline as athletic as it is musical. Over decades of touring, the strain on his body grew: joint pain, fatigue, circulation issues, and heart strain, all worsened by a relentless schedule and a lifelong commitment to perfection. Yet he never stopped. Even as his health declined, his passion for rhythm endured. Beyond the physical toll, the emotional and creative demands of constant evolution weighed heavily. Jazz transformed rapidly through his lifetime, from bebop to avant-garde, fusion to electronic experimentation, and DeJohnette stood at the crossroads of them all. Not always understood, often underpromoted, he pressed forward guided only by curiosity and integrity. He refused to be confined by categories. And though that sometimes cost him commercially, it gave him immortality artistically. Offstage, he was calm, spiritual, and humble. Meditation, holistic health, and family grounded him as he sought balance between art and life. Even in his final years, weakened but unbroken, he continued to explore sound and spirit. Jack DeJohnette's life was not defined by the struggles he faced, but by how he transcended them. His health challenges revealed his endurance. His career obstacles revealed his integrity. His personal life revealed his depth. Through every test, he returned to music, not as escape, but as expression. His legacy lives not just in recordings, but in the way he lived: curious, fearless, evolving, and true. If you've made it this far, thank you for sitting with this story. A story not only of loss, but of legacy, love, and brotherhood. Jack DeJohnette's rhythm may have stopped, but his echo will never fade. His journey with Keith Jarrett changed the language of jazz forever. Before you go, I want to hear from you. What Jack DeJohnette or Keith Jarrett performance moved you the most? What song, what concert, what moment will you carry with you after today? Share your thoughts and tributes in the comments. Let's fill the silence with gratitude, stories, and the love this music gave us. If this tribute touched you, please like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming stories on the legends who shaped our musical history. Rest in rhythm, Jack DeJohnette. Thank you for the heartbeat you gave the world. And to everyone watching, take care of yourselves and cherish the ones who inspire you.